We finally got the call, so we better get running.
This is what we're so excited about.
We don't own a car.
They did a proper double take. You're doing what now?
You just lent in iguana poo.
That's so disgusting.
You just kind of hold it from both ends and chop.
All right, I'm ready for my wiggle test.
That was scary.
I'm going to say it now before we've actually tested it, but this idea is genius.
I love how much you're doubting my abilities.
Have we run out of fuel?
We've run out of fuel.
Last time on Red Seas, we built our own bowsprit out of a second-hand compression post we got from another boat. We had a new bracket made and then promptly dropped it in the sea.
Oh, no.
We then spent a terrifying couple of days making holes all over Indy and running the rigging to make the bowsprit adjustable. We crawled into small spaces to make some more holes and then battled the swell to drill right through the bows. We worked through the night to get it finished, and now it looks amazing, and we're ready for the next project.
Okay, we finally got the call, so we better get running. Are we set to go?
Yeah, all good.
Finally. How many days have you been waiting for this?
Well, in some ways it's been like months, and in some ways we've only just decided.
So far, so good. Nothing's jangling. Ah, that's it. Beautiful.
All right. You got it.
We're going to cross the dinghy, front and back.
I don't really know.
I would like to try front and back.
Yeah, I just thought I'd give you an in.
Yeah.
You got it?
Yep. Actually, that'll work.
Yeah.
All right.
And I can just perch. Don't go too fast, otherwise I'll bounce out.
What could go wrong?
Slow and steady.
Slow and steady.
Have we run out of fuel?
We've run out of fuel.
Very slow and very steady then.
That's it. That's the tank dry.
Luckily, we have a spare fuel tank. The problem is I'm sitting on it. If I crawl underneath the panels, maybe you can access it.
This is where my genius shines through.
This is a pretty good system, I have to admit. Although, we didn't think this part through because once we feed the line through to the spare tank, we can't sit on top of the cushion. So I really am going to have to crouch underneath the panels. That seems like a faff. Landing on my head. So hopefully just don't squish that.
Okay.
We should be good to go. Got enough space back there?
Palatial. First time, every time.
Oh, look at that.
That's why they call me the one take wonder.
On the second take, leaving the dinghy dock.
Don't worry, it's all right.
I don't want to lean on them too much.
Oh, okay, move.
Bounces are not good.
Okay, and we're still alive.
Okay, this is what we're so excited about. We have just collected 4 200-watt solar panels. So we have 1,400 watts of flexible panels up on our hardtop, which we are super happy with. They're performing really, really well. We use them all the time. But because we rely on them so heavily, we are using solar more and more. So we've got a 12-volt water maker. We've now got an induction hob, which we can only use if we have enough sun. But on the cloudy days, if we have 3 cloudy days in a row, then we're not topping up our batteries sufficiently to be able to use them. So we're not able to make water that day, or we have to use propane to cook our dinner. So everybody's been telling us that the davits that we had made last year are the perfect place to put some hard solar panels. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So we need to go and buy some aluminium that we can create some kind of a frame, and hopefully it'll just fit up there and look awesome.
Typical of almost all our projects, we had to search the whole island to find the metal we needed. We'd chosen to go with aluminium because it's light, still relatively strong, and quite easy to work with. The only problem is, these guys only sold it in 6-meter lengths. So we spent a bit of time discussing exactly what we needed and our design, and they were kind enough to offer to cut it up for us right there in the yard. After measuring and measuring again, they got the intern to cut it. Thankfully, everything worked out fine and we didn't burn a whole amount of money. Oh, and Brownie made friends with the guard dog.
So we did it. We've got all of these aluminium pieces, which we now just need to transport down to the dinghy. And in our usual way, we'll work out a way to get them across the lagoon and back to Indy. We probably could have anchored closer.
I'm not so sure.
And now we're just getting odd looks from all the cars and the people walking on the street.
I just enjoy the fact that we got to the shop and they're like, so where's your car? Ha ha ha, we don't own a car.
They did a proper double take. You're doing what now? Aha, there's traffic! It's like a really weird 3-legged race. Just go with confidence and they'll be fine.
I just feel like we're transporting a javelin. So the guy in the shop was very worried when we said we're putting it in a dinghy. He's like, you know it's going to puncture the dinghy.
Yeah, he was like, please don't pop it.
I think we did it, and no one stole the dinghy.
Yeah, we forgot to bring the padlock with us, so that was slightly nerve-wracking. Okay,
so.
Ooh. So now we have to get this into there.
Yep. Easy. Need to measure.
Oh, that's disgusting.
You just lent in iguana poo.
Oh, look at that! That's so disgusting. I was setting up the camera and I lent in iguana poo. I'm going to have to wash it off in the lagoon.
No, you're going to have to leave it till we get home.
You won't let me get in the dinghy with this on.
You're right, you're walking home.
Oh, I can feel it now. It's all gunky.
On your arms.
Ooh.
You minger.
That has worked pretty well.
See, Brownie's been telling me to throw away my old, rotten, broken apart flip-flops.
Oh my goodness, you always find a use for everything.
For how many months have you been telling me that we should throw them away? And I've
How many months have you been carrying around those broken flip-flops?
And I've been saying they're fine in the dinghy, they're not causing anyone any harm. And, say it.
They have a use. Does that mean you can throw away now because they've served their purpose?
Yeah, so they're going to be useful for so many things. So many things.
They've achieved their life goal.
They've not.
They're done for now.
They serve us in the dinghy, that's what they do.
If you go really fast and then stop, they'll like
That would
fire
work.
out the front.
Oh, why didn't we think
and
of
I
that?
don't even need to lift them. It's like they've got a little flag on of the flip-flops. I could pull you in just by holding on to this end. So we've got all the pieces on board and Ian has been measuring stuff up and starting to cut things this afternoon. How is it going? I'm hearing loud noises.
There's lots of loud noises, there's lots of angle grinding. Yeah, I think we're doing okay. So it's a very confusing diagram that goes along with all this, but basically we've got L-shaped pieces that are going to make up the outer frame that's going to hold all the panels, and then in between each panel we're going to actually use the same stuff because we couldn't find anything pre-made like this. We're going to create a T-shape like that, and then a panel will sit that side. Basically, yeah. So I don't know if they even ever have it on this island, but the idea will be a panel sit on this side and a panel sit on that side.
Yeah.
And then around the outer frame will be just a single version of this all around.
So how did you work out the method to cut these ginormous slices?
I've been using the davits as like a mobile workbench.
Oh, I like it. Multi-purpose.
So it's not the best. You just kind of hold it from both ends and shop. And then when you're not doing that, you do it off the back of the boat.
And how many pieces have we lost to the ocean?
No, actually, I haven't lost any pieces or even toes, which is quite good. So yeah, I need to chop up these pieces, so I might need your help for that, just to hold an end. I've got gloves, because it gets very hot.
Oh, thanks. Safety conscious.
Yeah, all the way. Face full of aluminium.
It's starting to actually take shape and look like a thing now instead of a pile of metal. So as we're building up the brackets, I mean, we're doing this in such a stupid way. We can't build the frame on its own without the panels, but we don't want to damage the panels in building the frame, but they're all kind of attached. So we're just gonna like measure everything up and try and pre-drill everything before we rivet it together. So we're basically building it twice.
We need a bigger boat. Our T-pieces that we were making up earlier, which is actually, this is one of them, we've riveted them together. However, the nature of rivets, which I can't easily show you, is they have like a flat, smooth head and they have a big bulbous end on the other side. So I'm actually having to like countersink the sides of the solar panels. And then we click the rivet ends into place. They're not structural, but it's just neatness.
Kind of makes it feel like it's more intentional though.
Sure, yeah,
If they line up.
It's very custom.
Yes.
We'll go with that. It's very custom. And I'm really hoping that by the end of this, we don't end up with a big wonky looking frame. Which
I know, right?
There's a chance of. Need to mark where these rivet heads are. And then we back the panel up, do little 3 holes, and then push it back together, and it should sandwich nice and flush.
So nerve-wracking drilling anywhere near these panels. It's like we've just spent money on them. They're brand new and we're ruining them.
Brand new!
Brand new!
You say it's nerve-wracking, you're not the one wielding the drill.
Yeah, right. So satisfying when it clicks into place.
Like that.
Yeah.
Whew.
Now we need to go back and make sure all the other right angles are still right angles.
Of course. This is a horrible project. Who thought this was a good idea?
This is such a slow process. Every time we do anything, it ruins everything else and we have to go back and start again.
Last one, with the irregular shaped rivets. Aluminium rivets, by the way, not easy to come by.
No, we searched high and low for those.
Weirdly, not available in a boat shop, but available in the hardware store. So, yeah, check your local hardware store. Perfection.
That's what we like to see.
Final panel. Then we need to work out some new holes and things for cross beams and try and work out how this thing glues together with duct tape and chewing gum. Like most of our boat.
It's quite a good album title, isn't it? Duct tape and chewing gum.
I mean, good job for basically only using cardboard.
Yeah.
It clearly works.
I've got this.
Nearly lost our ruler.
Oh, that's the one scientific measuring tool that we have. And we're using it as a paperweight.
It's only almost accurate one we have, that's for sure.
So we've been keeping all of these like polythene, polystyrene, plastic covers on top of the solar panels so that they don't charge up in the sun while we don't want them to. But we've taken so long at this project that the sun is about to set and it's going to be nighttime. So maybe we should just carry on and work through the night and then we wouldn't have that problem.
That is going to be the safest way to do it. I feel like all solar projects should happen in the dark.
That suits us anyway because we never get up early enough in the morning to really see daylight.
True. Plus, in all honesty, I feel like if you do it in the dark, you don't know how bad it is. So you don't see it till the morning anyway.
And then you've forgotten and you don't care anymore. All right, day 2, and it is construction day today. So we've drilled out most of the holes that we need to, and basically it's just rivet-tastic, trying to get everything together in some kind of frame.
Yeah, yesterday we're drilling up and trying not to hit the glass of the solar panels. Today we're drilling down and trying not to hit the fiberglass of the table.
Woo!
Okay, so with that now done, the rivets are in place for these T's. What we actually have to do is lift the whole thing up, spin it around 180 and do the exact same again, but for the other cross strut square sectiony thing.
All right, I'm ready for my wiggle test.
I think it's a bit of give, but not a lot.
It looks like a frame. Now we have to actually put the solar panels in and see if they still fit.
Whole other problem.
Beautiful.
Still fits.
Win! The frame is pretty much complete now, as much as it can be, so we're going to start lifting it up onto the davits and start actually fixing it together in place. So with the dinghy lifted, it's actually really lucky because we can use that as an extra platform to stand in. Yeah, it doesn't always look like it's going to hold our weight, but as soon as we built them, Singh jumped in and tested it, and since then we have decided that that's proof. We can stand in it, it will support our weight, and it won't just fall into the sea.
This is testing Dyneema 6mm. 8mm? 8mm. 8mm to the max. Because I have been eating chocolate. I'm not dead.
Woohoo!
Of course, the sun is right behind me, isn't it?
Yeah, you look like a great silhouette.
Okay, so if you haven't worked out, we're doing this in the cheapest way possible. So the idea we're going to try is, I got hold of these, they're just like hose, electrical cable, I don't really know. They're stainless steel bendable pipe clamps with rubber gaskets on them. And these are going to go around the davits and then basically create a pin hinge using this bolt. And I've just cut up, you'll see them in a second, little L brackets with holes in them to act like hinges. So effectively it creates a hinge at one end of the platform, and then that goes up towards the bow of the boat or towards the front, and hopefully it'll stop it rolling around anywhere and it'll just stay put. It's basically just pinning it down to the boat so the wind can lift it and drop it as much as it likes, I think. But because they're made of stainless steel and we've been using aluminium for everything we've done so far, I have to use some Tef gel, which is basically a type of lubricant. It acts as like an isolator, so it lets you put two different types of metal basically together, but this sits in between it and stops corrosion. Otherwise, these would basically eat their way through the aluminium frame and we would lose all the solar.
Oh, that would be so disheartening.
After all this work, yeah. So, I just have to get really messy now because you have to dip this basically. I'm going to go over the top and completely cover it in Tef gel.
You're going to make a mess of the dinghy?
Probably. And then just a nylock nut should mean this never comes off. At the moment, I just don't want to I want to make sure the frame doesn't fall in the sea.
Yeah.
It's getting cold and I don't want to have to dive in after it.
It's getting cold. It's 32 degrees and we're in the Caribbean. Oh, that looks cool.
So it'll be something like that.
I'm going to say it now before we've actually tested it, but this idea is genius. So because of the angle of the wing and because we wanted our panels to be slightly angled, we had no idea what angle of block we would need on the fitting or the fastening to connect the frame of the panels to this angled wing. And so we just went and bought some hinges and figured that we'll just screw them into the wing and rivet them onto the panels, and then they'll just sit at the right angle, whatever that needs to be, and we don't ever need to know. And so far, it looks like it's working.
All the metal shards just fell out into my feet.
Oh no! The whole thing just slipped.
Hey, dinghy wobbles. It's heavy.
Are those square bars touching the davits?
No, because they're far enough in, of course.
Of course, yeah, we measured that.
We knew this would happen. This is how this boat works.
I know, it's magic!
It works on fluke. Purely powered by fluke and chance.
Look at this! Every joint is absolutely perfect. Oh, it's so beautiful! Look at these corners. How did we make that work?
I love how much you're doubting my abilities. So much
I'm
measuring
jubilant.
and a careful angle grinding off the back of the boat using bare feet. I used all 10 digits to make sure that worked.
And some of mine.
And occasionally yours. That was scary. Okay.
Yeah, you held it like a sail, full like side on to the wind.
First panel in.
Not in. Drill it, quick. I would like you to do the drilling, I'm too scared.
There you go.
I'm so strong.
Time to do the last walk of death in the wind.
Good job.
All right, holes and drills. So you're gonna drill it? You gonna do it?
No, of course I'm not. I'm not taking responsibility for drilling right the way through a solar panel. Last rivet! Wow. We did it!
We did it. Good job.
Sword fight. Don't ruin my lovely aluminium. You won the sword fight. Didn't want to ruin my sword.
Cool. Bernie actually just fell over.
I'm fine.
This wasn't me.